Hey, BassGeek here, and you geeks know if you've been watching for any amount of time that I fish steep, deep, clear water reservoirs. But I get excited in the spring when that water muddies up. Let me show you why. That's right, geeks. I get real excited when the water muddies or dirties up. Even if it gets down to like 2 foot or 1 foot. I know a lot of you guys ain't calling that muddy, but that is extremely dirty where I'm from. Why do I get excited over that? Because what I'm about to show you I like to fish when it gets that way is something that is probably one of the go-to crankbaits in all of crankbaitdom. And you can fish this from the bank. It's probably, for you bank anglers, the #1 crankbait that you should be fishing. You can fish it from a boat, you can fish it, pretty much from a kayak, anything that you can do. And what are we talking about? We're talking about a Squarebill. And I've got a special one, and I'm going to show you how I love to fish it in these clear water lakes when it gets dirty. But first, geeks, I want to talk to you about the BassGeek box sponsored by BaitWrx. $50 worth of baits, handpicked by me, and we give them away to you. But we pick one out of the box so that we can do a how-to on it. This may be the first time I've ever done a how-to on a Squarebill. I got a few little tricks for you. We'll talk about that more. Let's see what's in the box. First thing in the box, and this is what we're going to show you how to use, and this is a Squarebill. This is a Bill Lewis Squarebill. It's an ATV 2.5, because we want to draw up some big bites today, and it is in bluegill. I'm going to be honest with you, it's really hard for me not to pick this bait because the way it's dirtied up, and it's got some Indiana blades or Colorado blades, I don't know. But this is from War Eagle. This is coleslaw, and it is a great time to throw a spinnerbait also. You guys are going to love this. This box is loaded. Look at this. We got a 6-inch mag draft. If I was fishing just a little bit clearer water than it is right now, this right here is what we'd definitely be talking about today. Next up, you cannot be fishing this time of year without some Cincos. This is watermelon red flake. Hey, for you cats that like to throw a Ned, something that you may be overlooking is the Ned dinger. And what a lot of you may not know is there is an actual hollow chamber in there that keeps the tail floating upright. The Ned dinger comes in a lot of cool colors. This one, Elder's Magic. Next on the list, you have seen me throw these for a while. I hear a lot that they are sold out. We've got a how-to and probably, I don't know how many fishing videos on this type. This is the new winding or gliding technique. I figured I'd throw one out of my own personal supply, and that is the Jaw Dropper by First Gen. And we did give you some Power Finesse Shrooms by Z-Man to go with these. Now, I like the Power Finesse a little bit longer. A lot of people are going to use those on the longer style Z-Man PRDs. But the reason why I like these when the bass go on the bed is that the hook goes farther up. And when bass are on the bed, it's not really about action or anything. It's about just getting a hook in them because they're ticked off that it is on their bed. BaitWrx sticker and a BassGeek sticker. Talk about when, where, and why, how we rig it up, and why I really love to throw a Squarebill this time of year. Now, geeks, something that I want to tell you about, and I've already tested this. It runs true right out of the box, but a lot of times when you get a bait, something that you want to do is you want to make sure it's running straight back to you. And that is incredibly important when it comes to a Squarebill, because if it's running off to one side, you're more than likely to get snagged up. And the key to a Squarebill is that it comes over any sort of branch or any sort of rock, and you can see how it protects that hook. So you want it coming straight over and across. If it comes and it's rolling off to the side, you've got a good shot of one of those hooks snagging up. That's not what you want out of a Squarebill. A Squarebill is a 4x4 when it comes to a crankbait. So if it's running off to your left, you're going to bend this slightly to the right, and vice versa. If it's running off to the right, you're going to bend it slightly to the left. But like I said, we've done tested this, and I'll show you a great way to test a bait to see if it's running correctly. Now, to test a crankbait, you don't want it hitting the bottom. To test to see if it's running true, what you want to do is you want to make a cast, not a long cast, just a short one, and then you want to make sure that you're cranking, whether you're keeping the rod high. I like to keep it low and watch my line. The line is the best indicator to tell you if it's running straight or off to one side or the other. So as long as it's coming straight back to you, now it might look like it's running a little bit off to the left right there, but it's because the wind was blowing from left to right. It was actually running very true right out of the box. That's something I can say about the Bill Lewis baits. They run pretty right out of the box. Now, let's talk about rod reel line setup. This is the TFO Taction Bass 7.5 medium heavy plus, and this sucker weighs about 5/8 ounces. Now, the line that I'm going to normally use on this is going to be anywhere from 12 to 15 pound test, depending on what type of cover and how deep I want it to go. It will dive 3 to 6 feet. The lighter line, if I'm fishing just rock, you know, I may go with a lighter line of 12, even a 10 to get it down a little bit deeper. 15 is my go-to when I know I'm going to be around a lot of stuff like today. This is a arc gravity reel. This is a 7.1. I do like a higher speed on a Squarebill. This is the G3107. Man, I really like these so far. They have been casting a mile. These are great casting reels, very comfortable. Line, as always, K9. Now this is where I like to throw my Flora, which is their co-poly, because it's got just a touch of stretch in it. So a little bit of forgiveness goes a long way when you're trying to land a big bass. I'll give you a couple of different ways to fish this bad boy. So one of the places I love to fish this time of year is shallow rocky areas, but there's actually a road bed. We're only in about 4 or 5 feet really right here. This is a perfect place, and I'm gonna get close to the bank. Now this lake during the summertime can be as much as 15 foot clear, and right now it's only about 1 to 2 feet. And what that does to bass that are normally clear water feeders, they're sight feeders, is it forces them to get up against the contour lines, up against the bank, up against some sort of structure or cover. And it makes them easier to catch, because when it comes by, they're feeling the vibrations, and they're a lot more likely to reach out and bite something because they're not seeing it first or from a long distance away. Now, what I like to do is make a long cast, and then I just stop and go retrieve. 90% of the time, I'm gonna really crank it, stop it. Now, if I feel it hit something, I'm gonna really let it hit it and deflect, give it maybe another crank, and then I'm gonna stop it. I don't wanna stop it when it hits something, because a lot of times it's gonna get that weird, crazy deflection, and that's when you're gonna get that bite. When I'm fishing a place like this that is a little steeper bank, one of the things I like to do is I'll cast from one side and get that bait up there. I will actually bring the rod tip over and get it close as I can to that steep drop off, because I don't want it coming away from it. I want it coming right down the bank. When it comes to setting the hook on this, you're not gonna waylay them. You're gonna feel it hit, and you're just gonna lean into them, and you're gonna keep the rod tip down. Fighting the fish, don't horse them. They're on trebles, you will rip them out when those fish get close to the boat or close to the bank and make a dive on you. If you're by yourself with all those treble hooks, boat hop it. If you can't boat hop it, make sure you're very careful sticking your hand in and around a bass that has a lot of treble hooks in it. 90% of the time, I'm gonna boat hop them though. The MLF has taught you guys something horrible, and I've had it happen to me. When that rod is loaded up and you reach out to grab the line, if this bait comes free, it is like a slingshot, and when your hand is out there, it will set the hook on. Now, working a crankbait or a Squarebill through a laydown, from the boat first, I want to make sure I'm coming at it 2 different ways. I'm going to come at it straight from the side so that it comes over most of the branches. If it gets real tight and it doesn't pop free, stop, let the bait float up, and it'll come right out. Now, the other way I'm going to come at a tree or a lay down or a brush pile, it's going to be really straight on. I'm going to make that cast out there, and I'm going to work it straight down, hopefully hitting those branches as I go, maybe making a fish come up and react, or just react in general. You guys from the bank, do not cast where it's coming up and it gets to a fork. A lot of times it'll come through, but what happens when it gets to a fork is it may hit one way or the other and roll that bait over. When it rolls that bait over, you've got a tremendous chance of getting hung. Start out there low and bring your rod tip up as you're reeling in, which will keep the bait running shallower. If you're going to fish a squarebill, you are better off coming at that tree from the side. You're much less likely to get hung. GPS don't work real great in the mountains. Now, when we talk about setting the hook on those bass in these trees, it's different. We don't want to side set, we want to upset. We want to get them up out of all the crap. And you want to bring them to the top, ski them to the boat hop them in if you can, or lip them, or have your buddy net them, whichever way. Be careful again with the treble hooks. All right, proof's in the pudding. We got lucky and caught one today on these how-tos. Guys, the how-tos, it's really not our goal. I've got enough crankbait catches on video and squarebill catches and everything else. We're here just to teach you how to do this. We know this is a good bait, or I wouldn't be showing it to you. All that being said, this is the bait you're going to get. So it did catch that bass. Putting it back in the box, sending it straight to you. Now, how can you win the BaitWrx box? You can win it by entering hashtag ATV in the comments below. So hashtag ATV, this is a Bill Lewis ATV 2.5, I believe, and good looking color for the stained water. I hope this helps some of you geeks out there catch more on a squarebill and build some confidence in it. As always, questions, comments in the comment section below. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, ring that bell. 100% Watch Squad. And you geeks, every single one of you,